Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Miami. I just wanted to do a quick video for anybody who is on the fence about Real Environment X for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I fly exclusively in the islands. It's all I do is I fly from Miami out to wherever my destination is. Today it is Grenada. And back. And I've mentioned this a number of times, but like when you're climbing out, I'll actually show you where we are here. Climbing out of Miami right now. Here's our flight plan for the day. So we're just off Miami, getting out into the Bahamas here. And normally when you're in Microsoft Flight Simulator, this would be completely blue, just blue skies, no layers, nothing, right? Just beautiful weather every single day, same weather. And you can see here, you know, multiple layers. You got different layers in the distance. I've flown out of Miami to the islands in real life so many times, and you hit these, like, you know, kind of intermediate layers as you're going up, which we're about to do. You get these buildups over the islands, which you've got here. So in Microsoft Flight Simulator stock weather, you would have that buildup over a land-mass, right? Like, so you might see just this bit of puffy clouds here, and everything else would be blue. I'm going to give you a quick look outside. It's kind of loud, so I'm not going to talk while I show you the outside view. That's looking back towards Miami, obviously. But I looked for some feedback for people that fly over open water, and I didn't see any. You can see this misty kind of stuff that we're going through now. And like I said, I didn't see any feedback or reviews or anything. There's 18,000 feet. Cabin is pressurizing, everything looking good. People are cool, literally. And I just didn't see any feedback or any reviews, and I just love coming through these like misty layers as we're going up. And so anyway, I was really on the fence about, because if you look on their website, they'll say something about, you know, downloading worldwide weather twice a day, and that they have you know, extrapolated weather for open water. And who really knows what that means, you know? So I was really on the fence about it. And I think this costs about 21 bucks. And this is hands down the best $21 I spent or have spent on Microsoft Flight Simulator to get, instead of just blue, I mean, I would just see day after day after day the same thing. And nice weather is great for a while, you know, but it just sort of, it gets old after a while. And you get weather over top of, you know, the Bahamas as you're going down. You get weather over top of the Dominican, over top of Puerto Rico, like over top of St. Croix, but you would just get just puffs of clouds over top of individual islands, and everything else was clear. And I do seem to remember a time when that wasn't necessarily the case with stock weather in Microsoft. I remember I did a flight might have been from Barbados to Fort de France in Martinique, when I had some really some crazy weather. That I know that video is on my YouTube page. That's maybe 6 months to a year ago, probably a year ago. And so there was a time where you would get weather between islands, but even that was just complete overcast. It was like a stormy weather the entire time. Whereas this, as you can see, there's just different layers as you're coming through, and it makes such a difference. So I'm gonna continue to bore you with this until we get up over top of this layer here and get on top of it so you can see. But for island flying, it just changes everything. And I can't even imagine like how cool this must be to be down flying the Islander, at 5,500 feet in this weather. It'd be so cool. And yesterday I was above a just beautiful puffy solid layer. So it was like I was on top and it was just completely like cottony white beneath me, and it was so cool. So for anybody out there who is like me, flies in the islands a lot and wants some weather, I literally cannot recommend Real Environment X enough. It's just awesome. And I used it for prepared, but over the years, always used it, but there's no that I know of anyway, no real weather in prepared at all, besides whatever pre-selected weather you have. Whereas in Microsoft, theoretically, you shouldn't need it, but I'm sure if you're generally flying over the land, continental United States or whatever, I'm sure you get plenty of weather in the stock weather. Although I'll guarantee you that REX weather is better than the stock weather. But I mean, I can't imagine it being any more realistic than what I'm looking at right here. It's just awesome. So I was kind of hoping to get up over top of this a little sooner so I could end this video, but we'll just keep on chugging along. Been flying the 737 a ton. It's just such a cool airplane. I really wanted to get into flying the ATR, but I just haven't. Really, the thing that I haven't found a good tutorial on is the flight director, the autopilot, and it keeps on doing wacky things. Like I can get it up to altitude, but in terms of the descent and approach, I don't quite understand it. I mean, from my understanding, it's based on the Airbus logic. And the Airbus logic is Greek to me, so I had really planned on flying that airplane quite a bit. This type of layer that we're going through now, these are actually made of ice crystals, believe it or not. Usually these high level, upper level cirrus clouds, they're usually made of ice crystals. It's what, negative 12 Celsius out. True air temperature, as you can see right over here. And what is it total air temperature? Total air temperature. And the total air temperature is the temperature of the air when you account for the friction of the airplane moving through the air. Because the airplane moving through the air at, 306 knots generates quite a bit of heat. So that's why I've got the anti-ice on. It's got 60 miles to BITAC. Been working on my landings lately. One of the things that I've come to realize is that there is a difference between a touchdown, a good touchdown, and a good approach and landing, which might sound obvious, but like I think we get. I mean, look at this. Just amazing to me. We get caught up in the in this whole thing about what your landing rate was, like minus 145 feet, minus 225 feet, to judge whether your landing was any good or not. And all that is a judge of whether your touchdown was any good or not. Pretty well clear here. And I should increase our climb rate a little bit. And I've been trying to get to a point where I can have some just consistent, stable approaches under 1,000 feet. I had somebody tear me a new one on here on my channel. He's ripping me in a comment about how I was going to kill everybody, and thank God I'm not a airline pilot, so I'd endanger all my passengers and blah blah blah. And the fact is, I'm not an airline pilot. I'm not a commercial pilot. I am certainly in no way qualified in any way, shape, or form, nor should anyone expect, top level Boeing 737 flying out of me. I mean, I think I try to do the best job I can, obviously. But he really tore me apart for my St. Martin landing, and despite how rude he was right. I mean, right to the extent that my approach was unstable. I was had a descent rate exceeding 1,000 feet below 1,000 feet AGL, which is not acceptable, and that was what kind of got me thinking about looking at the approach and landing as it's in its entirety, rather than just looking at the descent rate at touchdown. So I've been working on my landings, and coming along nicely, I think. So I'll probably record this one later and posted the landing into Grenada. Taking a quick look outside here. And the weather, the sim is getting a little jittery, which tells me that it's about to re-inject the weather. And that's in the process of re-injecting the weather. And when it does that, the weather kind of disappears and then reappears. But you can set it so that it does it at a different interval. Like if you set it for every 5 minutes, it's going to do it every 5 minutes, obviously. And that can get kind of irritating. So I think I have it set as every half hour because I mean, I don't need it to be precise to the minute where it is. I just need it to be, quite accurate, which it is. And you see these like lower, darker cloud levels and rain and thunder, and I also think that this water effect, the whitecap effect, I think is from REX because I don't remember ever seeing that in stock weather. So anyway, this is us now over open water, and I just wanted to share with you guys a view of that. So in case any of you are interested in, I'm going right over top of, I forget what this island's called. That's Nassau right there. So I just wanted to do this in case any of you are interested in Real Environment X. I very highly recommend it. And I hope you enjoyed my rambling video. So hope you guys are doing well, and we'll talk soon.